Good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we have some very interesting news, and shout out to my brother CHAMPSIDE, and shout out to father, trainer, and manager of undefeated WBC lightweight world champion superstar boxer Devin "The Dream" Haney, who has 27 wins, no losses, no draws, 15 wins by way of knockout. He's 23 years of age, stands at 5'8" with a 72-inch arm reach. Devin "The Dream" Haney. His father, trainer, and manager, Bill Haney, was on the brother CHAMPSIDE platform today, and he discussed a lot of things. And one interesting, obviously, the biggest thing that everybody's so interested in is what's next for Devin Haney, obviously, right? Everybody wants to see if Devin Haney is going to fight undefeated, newly crowned, unified lightweight world champion, Australian star boxer, George Kambosos Jr. Okay, George Kambosos Jr. is 20 wins, no losses, no draws, 10 wins by way of knockout. He's 28 years of age, 5'9" with a 69-inch, 70-inch arm reach, okay? With that said, George Kambosos Jr., we all know the story by now. George Kambosos Jr., he shocked the world when he upset and defeated former unified lightweight world champion superstar boxer Teofimo Lopez November 27th at Madison Square Garden in New York, New York. With that said, he won a split decision or majority decision, whichever, okay? And so the fight that everybody wants to see is George Kambosos Jr. versus Devin Haney. It should be automatic, okay? It should be a no-brainer. It should be, just automatic, like I said, because it would be for official undisputed, okay? It would be for official undisputed. George Kambosos Jr., after the fight with Teofimo Lopez, he expressed the fact that he knows that he's not the undisputed lightweight champion. He expressed that, he knows he has to go through Devin Haney to do so. Then he stated that he wanted his next fight to be in the Down Under, overseas, at the Down Under, as they call it, and be in Australia, okay? So with that said, Australia, due to the global pandemic and due to there being, effects of it, Australia is back to a situation where they cannot have full capacity fans in their arenas. But George Kambosos Jr. is insisting on his next fight being in Australia, and he's insisting that it's going to be full capacity. Devin Haney is taking every measure possible to make sure he can secure this fight with George Kambosos Jr. He's given George Kambosos Jr. the biggest payday of his career. We know this. That's just simple mathematics as well, because Devin Haney has DHP, Devin Haney Promotions, with his father, trainer, and manager, Bill Haney, who run DHP, but they partner with Matchroom CEO and promoter Eddie Hearn and DAZN, okay? Eddie Hearn, he just staged George Kambosos Jr.'s last fight, which was his biggest fight and his biggest payday, against Teofimo Lopez on DAZN. So Eddie Hearn, he's already given George Kambosos Jr. the biggest payday of his career. And we know that Eddie Hearn and DAZN are willing to go to any measures to make the biggest fights happen possible, okay? The one knock that I had personally with Eddie Hearn was the situation with Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, because there was a lot of tug-of-war, a lot of back and forth, seesaw and posturing. And the fight never came to fruition and was the biggest fight in boxing. So with that said, outside of that, we know DAZN and Eddie Hearn, they gave Mikey Garcia $7 million to face off against Jesse Vargas in a non-title fight coming off of a loss. And Jesse Vargas got $3 million and Mikey Garcia got $7 million. We know they're paying big for these fights, okay? So with that said, they're willing to pay George Kambosos the biggest payday of his career. And then Eddie Hearn, he also revealed that there's an investment group, possibly in Dubai or Saudi, willing to put up massive amount of money for this fight with George Kambosos and Devin Haney. But George Kambosos is insisting on the fight taking place in Australia, and that's where the hang-up seems to be, okay? We know Eddie Hearn, he's good for that as well, because he had Anthony Joshua, a highly anticipated rematch with Andy Ruiz Jr. overseas, and they built a stadium in Saudi just for that fight. So we know Eddie Hearn has connections there. With that said, George Kambosos Jr. seems to be dragging his feet. Bill said that he's staying optimistic that the fight is going to happen. They sent George Kambosos Jr. all the information that he's looking for. Initially, like I said, George Kambosos Jr., his tone is changing, his tune is changing, and his outlook is changing since he's become the champion, okay? George Kambosos Jr. initially stated that it was not about money, it was about legacy and the biggest fight for the fans, an exciting fight for the fans. Well, he's now told Devin Haney publicly that he needs to sell his jewelry to be able to pay the purse that he's looking for and make the fight happen. So his tune and his chain is starting to change. With that said, CHAMPSIDE brother asks Bill Haney, what's the plan B? If George Kambosos Jr. continues to drag his feet, how long can you wait? And shockingly, Bill said obviously the number one agenda and goal is to become undisputed at 135. Devin Haney's on a fight-by-fight basis at 135 because the struggles, you know, obviously he's growing every day. He's 23, you know, obviously his body is growing, and it's difficult. He's always in the gym. He's always in shape. So if he's struggling to make 135, well, that's a telltale sign that his body's just outgrowing the division. So he's trying to stick around to accomplish the goals he's looking to accomplish and have the biggest fights at 135 and essentially clean out the division. And so Bill said that it's a fight-by-fight basis with Devin Haney. And then, you know, another situation arose. Obviously, recently we saw the longest reigning champion in the sport of boxing come to an end with Mr. Gary Russell Jr. losing to Mark Maxwell. Okay, he lost to Mark Maxwell, and that reign came to an end. But we know there was some back and forth between Devin Haney and Gary Russell Jr. as they were looking to try to make a fight, and it never came to fruition. So after he lost, Devin Haney, he tweeted out, Mr. Cap lost to a fighter that's not good. Okay, and you know, obviously that got the Russells in in the uproar, and Mark Maxwell's fan base in the uproar, right? But the problem here is that we know Gary Russell in the fight, he injured his shoulder in the 4th round. He couldn't use his right arm, and it was a difficult night. I personally still thought Gary Russell won the fight. Nonetheless, the judges, the most important people, they thought he lost the fight, so he lost the fight. And so I had Mickey Bay, former world champion and one of the trainers for Devin Haney, on the show, and Gary Russell's Jr. brother, Batman, he also came on the show, and Batman brought up Devin Haney fighting another Russell, who's Gary Russell, but Gary Antuanne Russell, who's a junior welterweight, 140 pounder. Okay, and Batman said, what about Devin Haney versus Antuanne Russell, because Gary Russell Jr., he fights at 126. Now, he was going to go to 135 according to himself and, his team. He was willing to go to 135 to challenge Devin Haney. Obviously, Devin Haney cannot go down to 126. Obviously, if he's struggling to make 135, there's no way possible that he's going down to 126. So the fight would have had to take place at 135, okay? And according to Gary Russell Jr., he was willing to go to 135. But now there's talks that Gary Russell Jr. is going to go to 130, and he's looking to challenge Christopher Colbert. As Christopher Colbert, he has a fight coming up for the vacant WBA title, I believe, at 130. Now, there's going to be a massive unification bout at 130 between Oscar Valdez and Shakur Stevenson at 130. Okay, and so with that said, Gary Russell Jr. is looking to go to 130. He's not looking to go up to 135. And since Devin Haney is saying that if he can't get the fight with George Kambosos Jr., well, he's looking to go up to 140. So they threw out Gary Antuanne Russell, okay, who is 14 wins, no loss and no draws, 14 wins by way of knockout, 25 years of age. He's a southpaw, 5'10" with a 69-inch arm reach. He's coming off of a highly impressive victory over Giovanni Santiago, who many people thought in his last fight, before this fight, beat 4-division world champion superstar boxer Adrian the Problem Broner. That was May of 2021. Okay, he got a stoppage victory over Giovanni Santiago, and it looks like Antuanne Russell is also going into a showdown very soon with former world champion Victor Postol in his next fight, February 26th. And so Bill Haney, he expressed that now if the plan is, if they can't get Antuanne Russell, if they can't get George Kambosos Jr. in the ring in their next fight, then their plan B is Antuanne Russell, which is a huge fight. And I truly believe that Antuanne Russell, excuse me. There's Gary Russell Jr., there's Gary Antonio Russell, there's Antuanne Russell, and this is Antuanne Russell, okay? 25 years old, 14 wins, no losses, no draws, 14 wins by way of knockout. I think that'd be Devin Haney's toughest fight outside of Gervonta Tank Davis and the Shakur Stevenson in his career. Now, obviously, as fights go on and he moves up in weight, there'll be different challenges and different people who present themselves. But as far as skills and talent, I think Antuanne Russell would be the toughest fight, not named Gervonta Tank Davis and not named Shakur Stevenson, okay? Now, I favor Devin Haney to win this fight. I still favor Devin Haney to win the fight over Antuanne Russell, but it's surprising that's the plan B, okay? But then on the flip side, it's not surprising because Devin Haney wants the biggest names, the biggest challenges, the biggest fights. And so hopefully, there is no plan B, and hopefully plan A comes to fruition, and that's the official undisputed showdown with George Kambosos Jr., who's dragging his feet. And it's not because of the money. It's because George Kambosos Jr., I feel like, is no longer as confident as he once was that he could beat Devin Haney. Many people have a lot to say when it comes to Devin Haney, but they're saying everything but let's fight, okay? They're telling you how boring he is and how, he's not a very good fighter. He don't have power, but then nobody's jumping at the opportunity to fight Devin Haney. So hopefully George Kambosos Jr., Devin Haney, again, is taking every measure. He's willing to go to Australia. But again, if you can't have full capacity in Australia, why would you have the fight staged in Australia? Why would you continue to push for it and stay, stuck on fighting in Australia, which I understand. You want a homecoming fight. You say you earned it. Absolutely. But if the climate is not allowing it to happen, it's not that Devin Haney doesn't want to go. It's just that it just can't happen. Okay. It's out of the hands of the fighters. So you insisting on going there and fighting there or not having a fight behooves me. Okay. So with that said, I would like to see Devin Haney, if he goes to 140, fight against Regis Ruguru Prograis. Okay, I think I like the fight with Antuanne Russell for sure. But the name and the mystique of Regis Ruguru Prograis, who's the former IBF junior welterweight world champion, who's 26 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 22 wins by way of knockout, 33 years of age, 5'8" with a 67-inch arm reach. He has a fight coming up against Tyrone McKinnon. That's scheduled for March 19th. Okay, so it looks like he's going to be fighting March 19th possibly on the undercard of Jamel Charlo versus Brian Castano. Now, Jamel Charlo and Brian Castano fight is a rematch, highly anticipated, undisputed rematch. That's going to take place in March. But with that said, Jamel Charlo and Jamal Charlo have a very, very close-knit relationship with Regis Ruguru Prograis, and it's not surprising to see him on the undercard. But that's the fight I would like to see. His name just carries more mystique right now. I think Antuanne Russell needs time to build up 14 fights, beautiful knockouts, beautiful boxer. His namesake is not out there yet. But that's a very difficult fight, but it's a winnable fight for Devin Haney, and I want to see it. So Hopefully George Kambosos Jr. fight comes to fruition. But let's see how this all unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV. All one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
This is Amanda, the real deal Serrano, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.